Well, hello and welcome to the studios of San Angelo Live. I am Manny Diaz, and today we're bringing you a special broadcast because we have a special announcement regarding the 2022 upcoming election here that's involving a number of our local races. And joining me right now is the one and only, the political analyst of SanAngeloLive.com, San Angelo Live's editor-in-chief, Yantis Green. Yantis, we've done this before. It's always a good time chatting with you.
Well, it's great to be here. We've been doing this every week for a while now, and we're kind of getting used to it. But with Christmas winding down, 2021 winding down, it's time for the political arena to kind of heat up. So we do have a major announcement today, and that deals with candidate forums.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is, in fact, without further ado, we'll go ahead and get right into it because it's involving two of the most highly contested races in Tom Green County. The first of which is a forum, but it's styled as a debate, and that's regarding our Tom Green County judge vacancy. Well, not quite yet a vacancy, but it's getting there. This is styled as a debate. That is on January the 13th. And then also the second one is the commissioner, Tom Green County Commissioner Race Precinct 4. This is a forum where we'll get to know a lot of these different candidates here on January the 27th, all at 6 p.m. Both of these forums will be at the exact same spot, the Sug Room, the third floor of the Stevens Central Library, proudly presented by the Concho Valley Republican Women. Yantis, this is, I think... I think it's unprecedented. First and foremost, before we get into the judges race, the Tom Green County Commissioners Race Precinct 4, you were once upon a time in that position. How crazy is it to see so many different candidates? Six candidates in this race?
There are six candidates in the race for Tom Green County Commissioner in Precinct 4 in the Republican primary. We've looked back and we haven't seen that many candidates in a race for Precinct 4 County Commissioner in recent history. So there's a lot of interest there, and the voters need to have the ability to see who these folks are, and to see how they mesh what they think and what they stand for. And that's the phase of the campaign that we're getting into now. The next 6 weeks, there'll be a number of candidate forums, we hope. And I'm just thrilled. These things are difficult to put on, to coordinate, and Tracy King and the Concho Valley Republican Women sort of spearheaded this thing and came up with the location of the Sug Room in the Stevens Library there on the third floor. Perfect place for county elected officials to be meeting and introducing themselves. And they teamed up with us and the library, and this is all coming to fruition. We have confirmed most of the candidates are going to be on hand. Three of the four judges, or judicial candidates for county judge, have already confirmed. We expect everybody to be there. Joe Hyde, Todd Coles, and
Lane Carter.
Lane was going to be here today, had a scheduling conflict, and we'll get to visit with him next week. But this is a key race in Tom Green County, the judges race, because it's the county judge is the CEO of the county and has to balance those 26 other elected officials and their departments and their needs and their budgets. So, as you mentioned, Steve Floyd is not seeking re-election, so this would be an open seat. And we don't have a candidate who's from the farm team, from the commissioner's court or another elected position within the county. So these candidates they come from different fields and bring different strengths. So we've got to see, voters will get to see if they mesh and how they would mesh with their idea of what a county judge is and what a county judge does.
I think probably the best way to put a lot of this is, right now it is the sign war, the many signs that you see around San Angelo, Tom Green County. You see one after the other as you're coming into town or all throughout town, and that's all good and well. But these forums, these style debates, these will certainly separate, the pretenders versus the contenders, if you will.
There you go.
And I think, for me, as and I think for all of us, during football season, we refer to ourselves as the nerds of high school football and things like that. And and then we turn, when this kind of comes around, we're the nerds of the political field. And I think
Right.
it'll be interesting to see who's going to bring what to the table on certainly January 13th.
That's right. This again, this phase is phase two. Phase one was the sign wars. Candidates across Texas have to follow certain rules, and they can't put out a political sign until within 90 days of the election. So that would have been December 1st. So the signs started appearing in yards and on corners, on commercial lots, about 29 days ago, and that will continue as candidates work with businesses and people to put out more signs. And
Right.
this second phase is all about name recognition, as the first phase was. So you'll see more advertising, more billboards, more ads on San Angelo Live and in other local media. So you've got to couple this name recognition with what do you stand for, and that's where the forums come in.
That's
and
a great
it's
point.
critically important that folks get that opportunity. Now the SUG room will seat about 300 people, give or take. So not everybody that's going to vote can make these forums, but that's why we're live streaming them to give
Right. Yeah.
as the most voters we can that opportunity.
Absolutely, and Yantis Green just said it. In fact, this is the only place you can to catch these two forums for the Tom Green County Judge race, along with the Tom Green County Commissioner Precinct 4 race, right here on SanAngeloLive.com. We are the exclusive media outlet for this. Come January 13th at 6 p.m., this will be the a debate styled forum there between the Tom Green County candidates for running for judge in that particular race, and which is interesting because if you think about it, San Angelo Live, I think if you really break it down, truly the only outlet that's willing to kind of tackle something like this. You don't see many other outlets around town that are willing to say, "Hey, why don't you come and talk about the issues here?" Haven't seen it.
It really is. It's a tremendous undertaking to get all those folks in one place at one time, and we're doing our best to get them one-on-one here on a weekly basis. But the forums will really help candidates shine, or maybe show voters what options they have. One thing that we talked about earlier is, and I have a copy of what is going to be the actual ballot. Now, This is a Republican primary, and it's not just about local races. This is their state and national races too. And the way the ballot works is the national offices come first, and then the statewide offices, and then finally you get down to the county offices on the primary ballot. So this is 5 pages, and you have to get down to page 3 before you get to the local races, and then you have to decide. So every election cycle, it's a matter of educating voters that just when you get to the voting box and you get to cast a ballot, there's more than one screen. So you've got to complete screen after screen after screen, and when it's on paper, it's race after race after race, and they urge voters to go all the way to the bottom to get to those local races to cast ballots there.
Right. And within the last few weeks, we've also seen the drawing order of a number of these races. Last week, what we saw, it was just last week. It was with all of the Republican primaries. And some people may say to themselves, "Oh, it's just an order." How important, how clutch is that order on the ballot for a lot of these candidates that are seeking office?
Well, people smarter than me who are good at math and do statistics and stuff have done study after study of elections, and ballot order, how your name appears in the order on the ballot, can be worth as much as 10% of the votes cast if your name is at the top.
Okay.
And that's among voters who know nothing about the candidates. So if you have, for example, in the county judge's race, there are 4 names, and there's the guy at the top will get approximately 10% more votes just because his name's at the top of the list. And that becomes critical, especially in races where there are, like the county judge, where there are 4 candidates, and commissioner in precinct 4, where there are 6 candidates. There are other examples, and I did a column on this earlier, but especially for governor, lieutenant governor, and land commissioner. The land commissioner of Texas is a statewide office, currently held by George P. Bush, but he's running for attorney general, so that's a vacant office, and there's a list of about 8 candidates there running, and I don't know any of them, and most voters don't know any of them. But of those 8 names, the one on top is Don Minton. Don Minton, again, I don't know who he is, but voters typically will cast a ballot for the first guy on the list if they don't know anybody.
And that's
on
the
that
race
list.
for the land commissioner.
And that's the race for land commissioner, the statewide race. So it is critical, and it will affect. It will have an effect on the local races, especially in races where there's no incumbent.
Okay.
Now, in the precinct 4 commissioner's race, Bill Ford is the incumbent. He is on the ballot. He is second from the bottom on that out of that list of 6. But the incumbent part of it kind of washes out that appearing first on the ballot.
Right. Well, as far as the Tom Green County judge race, the order of that, do you have the order of that particular race?
In the county judge race, that order is Lane Carter, followed by Joe Hyde, then Tommy Ushery, and Todd Coles.
Todd Coles. Okay, so we see, as you said, Lane Carter perhaps might get a few more votes just because he's the top guy on the ballot.
All things being equal, that would seem to be the case. There are exceptions, and that's what candidates are doing right now, trying to make those exceptions, trying to get their name out there before voters and to be memorable in doing so. So debate performance can outweigh and outwork that ballot order.
Right.
Easily, if you have an outstanding candidate who's really good at debate and really good at presenting his or her information.
Right. Which that's going to be key. That's going to be interesting to see who outshines who. And I know you and I will be spearheading that particular coverage on those 2 weeks there in January with the Tom Green County Judge Forum and the County Commissioner Precinct 4 Forum as well. Let's see what what else did we?
Because we focus on the county judge race and the commissioner precinct 4 race, doesn't mean that there aren't other races. There are 7 contested local races that
is correct.
are
Yes,
very important, and that starts with the county judge. County clerk, our county clerk, Christina Urbando, has a competitor, Lupe Gomez, so that's a contested race for county clerk, which is kind of rare. Justice of the Peace, Susan Werner, very popular Justice of the Peace, has an opponent in the primary in Levi Vance. In Justice of the Peace for Precinct 2, there's not an incumbent in that race. J.P. McGuire is not running again. So Chris Durstein and Tom Daniel are vying for that Justice of the Peace Precinct 2 seat. And then in the Justice of the Peace Precinct 3 race, we've talked to all 3 of those candidates, Martha Muro, Ron Perry, and Stacy Speck. So those are the all-quality candidates. I mean, they're good folks. And
That's a tough field.
It is. It's going to be
gets out of
difficult
that.
in every one of these races to cast a ballot, because if you don't know these folks, you'll know them better. But by the time you get to Election Day, again 6 weeks away, and for early voting, and then only 8 weeks until Election Day. But we have so many tremendous choices, and now is where the spotlight turns to the candidates themselves, and this is where they have to shine. You can walk door to door and talk to folks one-on-one. You can buy advertising and put out signs. But these forums, and particularly in a debate type situation where they get to interact with each other rather than just answer questions that are asked of them, this is when their personality shines and when their background and experience will show through, hopefully, and hopefully voters will get to see that and make up their own minds.
Now, for these races where we're seeing, multiple candidates, 4, 6, 3, 4, 6, something along those lines, now they have to, we're talking about winning 51% of the votes.
50% plus one.
50% plus one. There we go. In hopes of, not going into a runoff. But,
right.
But that's highly likely when you have so many candidates in one field.
That's very true. We anticipate a runoff because of the number of contested races and the number of candidates in those races. So here's the process. We've got early voting starting mid-February. March 1st is the primary election, Republican primary election across Texas and particularly here in Tom Green County. There are no Democrat candidates, local Democrats on the ballot, so there will be, because there are statewide candidates for office, there will be a Democrat primary ballot.
Okay.
So folks that want to vote for, let's say that Robert Francis O'Rourke is running for governor, there will be the opportunity for Tom Green County Democrats to cast a ballot for him in the primary.
Okay.
But in our contested races in the GOP contest, if there's more than 3 candidates and nobody gets more than 50% of the vote plus 1, which is a majority, the smallest majority of votes there is, then the top 2 vote getters go into a runoff. That runoff would be held on May 24th in Tom Green County, the top 2 in those races. And then the ultimate winner of that primary would be the GOP Republican candidate on the ballot in November, which would be, for all practical purposes, you are
right.
The
due to
winner,
no Democrats,
because there's no Democrats. Now, the one exception to that is in the race for county judge. And
you read my mind. I was about to just get to that.
With 4 candidates in the primary, one will eventually be the candidate for the Republican Party, and that candidate will probably face the independent candidate, Gary Jenkins, who's running for county judge as an independent.
But at this point, it's only if.
Yeah, that's a big if, and I've written about this before in that Mr. Jenkins has chosen to run as an independent, which means he's not on a party ballot in March. So he wouldn't appear on a ballot until November, which is why he's not in the Republican candidate forum.
Correct.
Because he's not on the ballot this go round. That is a very challenging way to get on a general election ballot. We mentioned the primary runoff, the runoff election May 24th. Well, because of the way that an independent candidate has to earn his way to the general ballot, that's a critical date, May 24th. On May 25th, independent candidates must start gathering signatures on a petition, and this is all required by state law. So he would have to gather a minimum 500 signatures of voters who have not cast a ballot in either primary, the Republican primary or the Democrat primary. So anybody that votes in the Republican primary cannot sign his petition, and anybody that votes in the March 1st Democrat primary can't sign his petition.
So that means not casting a ballot for governor of Texas or any of these other.
You have to forego those primary ballots if you want to sign that petition. And once he has those signatures and hands them in to the county judge and they're certified by the Tom Green County Elections Office, once that's done, then his name would be placed as an independent on the general ballot in November.
Wow. That is a very difficult way to get
it's
in.
a lot of work, and hats off to anybody that takes on that task.
In your
it's a
time
challenge.
is, being a politician yourself or a member of the media, have you seen, an independent being able to kind of climb into a race like that, whether it be in Texas or just around Tom Green County?
I don't recall a candidate for local office like a countywide office. I don't recall an independent candidate. I could be wrong, but they are so rare. They are so rare because the party process is deliberate in that it supports candidates and it helps candidates and raises funds for candidates and holds campaign schools, and you have all that support. Each party has their own way of doing it, but those candidates who decide to forego the process, the party process, again, it is a challenging road, and again, hats off to anybody that wants to take on that challenge.
Wow. So Gary Jenkins at the moment, he will be the only independent on if he can get his way on the ballot come May, and he has less than 30 days. He would have less than 30 days.
That's right. That's a good point. He has 28 days to get those 500 signatures. Which makes the task even more arduous. So,
oh, gosh. Yeah. Best of luck to you, Mr. Gary Jenkins.
That's right.
Pastor Jenkins.
We hope to have him here at some point. We'll discuss what his plans are and hopefully find out where he stands on the issues that are facing the county. And we'll see.
Definitely. Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground here. For the folks that are just joining us, our special announcement this afternoon is that we will, San Angelo Live, in accordance with the Concho Valley Republican Women, will be hosting two forums regarding two particular big races here in Tom Green County. Tom Green County Judge, this is on January 13th at 6 p.m. in the Suggs Room of the third floor of the Stevens Central Library. They're here in downtown San Angelo. And then on January 27th as well as 6 p.m., same location, the forum for the Tom Green County Commissioner Precinct 4 race. So this is a huge thing. San Angelo Live is the only outlet that you can catch these two forums on, which is amazing because we're giving candidates the opportunity to share their vision for the future of this particular area. So, Yantis, I know we have stats here. If you can tell us how many races that we have that we're looking at, and certainly what all that means.
Again, there are 26 local Republican candidates on the ballot in 7 contested races, and then those that are running unopposed for re-election. There are 30 races on the ballot, including the statewide races. And the forums are great. We're glad to be a part of them. The Concho Valley Republican Women really spearheading this thing. We're just kind of along for the ride and to be able to spread the word. And again, the Stevens Library, the Central Library downtown, the folks over there being so gracious to help us out with that facility. The timing is everything. Again, we've gone through the sign war, which will continue, and look for ads on media, local media, and these candidate forums. There are several local groups, the Concho Valley Republican Women being one of them, San Angelo Republican Women, the Pachyderm Club, the Tea Party, the Tom Green County Republican Party. Those groups typically have candidate forums where they have all 26 local candidates in one spot, or at least they're all invited, and it's really difficult for them to have enough time in a venue like that to do anything more than say, "Hi, my name is John, and I'm running for this office."
Right.
Which is why we've chosen to do these particularly 2 races to give them an extended amount of time to really show who they are.
Absolutely. Alrighty. Well, this is a big thing for San Angelo, big thing for Tom Green County. The opportunity to listen and learn from these particular candidates. 4 candidates in this race for Tom Green County Judge, 6 candidates in this race for Tom Green County Commissioner Precinct 4. So I mean, let the games begin, So it's, well, as Yantis Green said, we're going to see a lot of that. So nonetheless, I think we covered it.
I think that's it. I think we said everything we needed to say.
Absolutely. All righty. Well, that is the big announcement from the political desk here on SanAngelLive.com. Join us next in the coming weeks. We hope to have Lane Carter as well as a number of other candidates joining our very own Yantis Green here. So, nonetheless, for Mr. Yantis Green, I'm Manny Diaz. Thank you for watching San Angel Live.